Hello, everybody. Look, we got double trouble in one single screen there. Excellent. So we are here with two of my partners in crime out there, especially when it comes to talking to the print customers and letting them know about the amazing advancements in printing technology, in marketing communications, and in all the amazing things that Xerox technology can help marketers and designers and businesses achieve with their print and creative results, as I like to say. So we have with us Andrew Gunn. He is the global director of production, marketing, and product lifecycle, and Kelly Leahy, who is the America's field marketing manager at Xerox. Welcome so much, and thank you so much for your support. Shout out to Tracy, who made this all happen. One email, everybody. She was in to support the students, getting some education, the open house events, and making sure that the future of the industry is viable. Thank you so much to Xerox for that, and for Andrew and Kelly for joining us today. You also hosted an open house, which we will get to in 1 second, but I wanted to mention one thing before we move into the session. I know that you guys were on the chat, because I can see you behind, waiting to do your session, and I mentioned that I was presenting on the metaverse, and I would like to say that Team Xerox was the first company who embraced my craziness when I said the metaverse is all about printing, and they were like, you know what? We want this message to get to our premier customer group, and they honestly, I was very fortunate. They whisked me off to England, where I was able to present on this topic. And it was, it's a hard thing to embrace, especially when the glasses are not there yet, but it's coming. And I just want to thank you for really giving me that opportunity to open up those doors. I still talk to a few of your customers about it who are waiting for it to happen. And I'm bringing it up because Xerox is always out there and pushing the envelope and supporting Project Peacock, a customer education program. And you have your own education program called Project Genesis, which I believe we're going to speak about today. It's called Project Genesis. Is it Project? Or the
well, it started as Project Genesis, but it's evolved
Genesis
to
Initiative.
The Genesis Initiative.
Yeah,
okay.
It's become just the way we work, right? So it's just like table stakes now for us, and making this space accessible to everybody. Yeah.
So the title of your presentation is called Designing Dreams into Reality. So before we get to that, though, let's just do another recap of the open house event that you did have, and all the students, and what you did for them, and if you got any feedback, which I'm sure you did, based upon the amazing materials that you created for them.
We did, Deb. It was a fantastic day. I honestly didn't know what to expect, right? And so here we had about 40 students and plus professors from both RIT as well as Nazareth University. And they came in, and they were all art and media or packaging science and design students. And we really took them through not just what Xerox does, but how we work with our partners as well as our clients. And so, the materials that we had for them when they came in really illustrated sort of the benefits of our portfolio and being able to do personalization and beyond CMYK and digital embellishments. And we illustrated that in their badges, as well as some personalized candy bar wrappers that we created for them. And then, of course, we had our partners like Erica Zimmett and Bailey Kennedy from the Zimmett Group to come on, both RIT graduates, right? Which
was nice to see. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, exciting. And then, of course, Billy Stojanowski, who's another member of our team, works for Andrew also. He's the Nazareth soccer coach.
And he went to RIT.
And he went to
I
RIT.
was stuck in Switzerland with him. I love that guy.
Yeah. So it was really fun. And one of his soccer players was in the group that's going to school for
the keeper for their team. Somebody he coaches. Yeah.
But the number of students that had these aha moments as they were listening to the Zimmet group talk, as they were listening to our client, Christine Yardley, speak about what embellishments has done for her business. It was just, they just didn't realize what opportunities there were in print. And several of them, came up and talked to the presenters after the fact, but they also said, like, I had no idea Xerox did this, that this is what Xerox is. Yeah. So the day was fantastic.
Yeah. And I think, it's one of those things where we've got that obligation with this community to do that. And I didn't get, I don't get nervous, right, Deb, unless I'm in front of you or, hey, right. But I talk in front of CEOs all the time, but I'm in front of these kids because it's humbling, because I said to them, one of you potentially could be my boss in the not too distant future. So I'm kind of nervous. So it's just great. And what I noticed was the head nods that you got. So oftentimes, if you're talking about embellishments or, CMYK plus, or, designing for this or designing for that, you got a lot of this versus a lot of, I don't know what he's talking about. So it was just good to get those head nods as you were walking through, and you didn't have to go back and explain it. And people were truly kind of latched in and hooked into what you were saying. So I love the chance, and I love the opportunity, frankly, that you brought forth to allow us to be part of. So it was a great day. It's a great session.
Well, I appreciate that so much. None of it would have happened without Mary Lee Clark, who was spearheaded the entire school connection to print shops and manufacturers, and made all of it happen. Would not have happened. It might have been my idea, but she manifested it. So now it is super important that we educate the students, that we get more students in the graphic communication programs and all of that. But let's put that to the side right now, because we have a bigger problem as far as I'm concerned, which is there are professional buyers out there. There are people who don't realize they need print in their life, which I say is every store you pass on the street. And there are certainly people who don't understand, even in the printing printers out there. No offense to the printers, but not all of them go to trade shows or read trade magazines or attend webinars and demos or are part of user groups and things like that, who are left out of the loop on the advancements of the things that printing presses can do, which I like to describe to the students as their computer processors. And a PDF is a computer program, and you can create a million things with a computer program and a press that interact together with the right ink and the right paper. A prime example of this, Project Peacock. Xerox was part of all of our Project Peacock print fairs. You had this amazing sample of a white ink lion on a black board. And if I can tell you that every single designer walked up to that black board with that white ink, and it did not process what they were looking at. They thought they were looking at the absence of ink where the lion was, instead of that being the only ink. So there is still a lot of work to do educating people what is out there. And you certainly are leading that charge. So please tell everybody about the Genesis Initiative, and certainly what designing dreams into reality means to Xerox.
Well, I think when I think of designing dreams into reality, I think of the opportunity in the design space to not be stuck with just designing for 4-color, right? The creativity that being able to design with 5, 6, 11, a million different colors gives a designer such an opportunity to create a piece that is memorable, that somebody spends more time with, that maybe somebody doesn't throw out. They keep it because it's now a keepsake. It's just a beautiful printed piece that, again, might also have their name on it. But being not bound by 4-color work anymore, I think, is what really enables that dreams to reality. If you can dream it up in your head now, you can create it and print it.
Yeah, and I think, it's one of those things that's played up into our capabilities around variable data going back a while. It's really amplified that. You talk about personalization, having your name on something. Well, what if you see it done in, actually, I think it's 11 million iterations of different colors you can do with the fluorescence, the gamut expansion, the gold, the silver, the white, the clear, all that great stuff. So it's that story that it brings together. It makes print actionable, and it makes it fun and exciting, right? And if that's something that we can get, our print service providers excited about and get the design community excited about, we got a great story to tell. And, you always hear how, Xerox has been around for, X, Y, Z amount of years. We want to be around for twice that long, right? So we see this is not it's not our duty. It's our obligation to behave as stewards of this discipline that we're talking about here.
And so, Deb, when you talk specifically about the Genesis initiative, right? It's one thing for us to produce, production devices that have the ability, whether it's via adaptive CMYK plus or, additive CMYK plus, but it's a whole other thing to design for it. And so what we learned really quickly is that just because a person puts that printer into their shop does not mean that they are going to print pretty gold and silver and embellished.
Well, that's where the Genesis issue started, with the fact that, if you build it, they won't necessarily come. So what can you do to make that? And I think that's where
exactly. And for me, it starts with the design. Anytime anybody hears me present, I always say, when the designers design, the printers print. So one of the things that we have done is we have made learning how to design for Beyond CMYK accessible to everyone, not just Xerox customers. Deb, you mentioned Project Peacock. We work with you. We work with Paper Specs. We work in the design community. We want people to learn how to do this.
Democratizing it.
100%. Yeah. The more designers that learn how to design for Beyond CMYK, the more printers will start printing it. So, we have created a collection of tools and resources as part of the Genesis initiative. And one of our major focuses is in that design community. So we have how-to videos, everything on how to design for fluorescence, how to do metallic photo enhancement, how to use pink for gamut extension, right? Not just spot pink. We have the online or the monthly trainings, right? We do free monthly trainings for designers, delivered by designers. They're every month for Iridescent, they're every other month for adaptive CMYK plus. Yeah. And what's great about them is it's not just like, oh, here's how you do this.
Yeah.
The designers talk about like where they epically failed, the things that they thought that were going to look amazing that didn't, and the things that they thought that weren't going to look that great that looked amazing. So they give all the hints and tips of what they've learned over the years as well. And it just becomes this community of being, we have our new tagline is Pink United.
Yeah, Pink United. It's a thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing because there really is this whole movement towards not just fluorescent pink, but embellished work in general. And I just think that, the more designers that we can help, and students too. Not all design students are going to university in their design programs learning how to do this digitally.
Yeah.
So we've even been working with some of the universities as well.
And maybe touch on a little bit, about connecting the design community to people who can produce it. Maybe touch on that one.
Yeah. So another sort of plank of the Genesis initiative is our global locator. And so what we've done is we've put together a global directory of print service providers that have our equipment, that have the embellishment capabilities. Print service providers can register their device, what colors they have, and then then print buyers and designers are able to find print service providers in their area that have these capabilities. And I'll just share a quick success story on this. It's very cool. So we have a client in New Hampshire, and they have adaptive CMYK plus. So they have a Versed 280 with both the Vivid kit, which does gold, silver, white, and clear, as well as the fluorescent kit. Well, they got a ping off of the global locator from a designer in New York City that had a client in Miami. And this designer found this printer because he was trying to search, like, is there anybody who can print fluorescence? So he found them from the global locator, and I saw the email, and he sent an email and he said, am I reading this correctly? You can really print fluorescence. And so now they're working on this beautiful piece for this client in Miami together.
Literally connecting the dots.
Yeah, totally connecting the dots. And I love that it's like New York City, New Hampshire, and Miami all together working on the same project.
I mean, I often send people to the global locator. It's one of my favorite links in the printing industry. No, I'm totally serious. But I mean, before I even knew you, I was doing it. Bill Michael, remember Bill Michael?
Bill Michael.
Yeah, he was the one who shared it with me all those years ago. Because I kept asking him, somebody's looking for this, someone's looking for this. He's like,
Yeah.
we have a very handy link that you can search. But I actually was on it recently because somebody asked me for a referral, and I was like, let me go check out my handy dandy link. And you have actually enhanced it. I don't recall equipment being on there last time I looked. It was more just of like, hey, here's all of our customers and here's where they're located. But that made it super easy. This person was looking for some help with packaging or something, but they were able to find somebody through that tool. I want to just embrace the embellishment world for a moment, right? Now, we all love embellishments. They're coming under fire, for sustainability, and they come under fire sometime for cost. It adds some cost to the job. Now, your embellishments are in line, so that means they don't there's no extra plates, work, moving things over, shipping, which could be part of a sustainability story. And when it comes to cost, I always say, well, do you need to be printing as many as you're printing? And look at where to print smarter, not harder, and not lose out on the bling factor. Not trying to put words in your mouth, but I'm sure this comes up all the time in your conversation. So how do you discuss it in an authentic way, please?
As far as sustainability goes?
Either of it. I'm sure the objections of, well, foil is scary now, and embellishments add costs to jobs.
Yeah, that's okay. Now I get it. Okay, so I think, and you and I are going to probably say the same thing, but I'll take a crack at it. You can fill in the gaps. I mean, we talk about the things like foiling is a perfect example. How customers will be like, well, I don't do it. I got to send it out. It leaves a carbon footprint with it. It's going to cost me more money. And we're like, okay, great. So when we talk about our metallics, and then we've got class leading metallics, based on the fact that we've got a fantastic flop index in our metallic toner, that aside, we always position it like, look, with this, you can gain a metallic alternative, that of which you couldn't do before, right? We don't say replacement. We avoid doing that, right? We let the print buyer decide. The fact is that you can print our metallics. You don't have to coat them, because they sparkle on their own. And the toner, it's tough. It doesn't go anywhere. You can put it in the mail, right? And you're printing one of one, to your point, right? So I think that the ability to do it, and I use the term one of one because of the availability of digital, right? And the prospect of that. I think that it gives you, one, an environmental story. It gives you, two, a really good business case, and the fact that you've got this viable alternative. And Deb, you've seen the applications. You get it, right? So I really do think that we've got this viable alternative to foiling. And you know what? We're never going to be the replacement for foiling. We don't want to do that. But what we want to do is offer a cost optimized way to do it, keep it in-house, maximize your ROI, and let the print sing for itself.
Yeah.
It makes, I'll have to laugh because when I was just at Printing United last week, I was having this exact conversation, Deb, with a client that was in the booth. Just, looking and assessing the technology. Yeah. And we were looking at the gold and silver, and he's like, oh yeah. He said, it's really good. It's really sparkling. And he goes, it's almost like you're faking it. And I go, well, we don't want to say fake. We want to say emulate, right? We emulate it. But to your point, Deb, I mean, there's so many print service providers, like Andrew said, their clients might have come to them and said, oh, I'd love to have this UV spot or this gold or silver foil. Right. And very quickly they realized that there was more time, there was more money, and, they had to maybe have a minimum order quantity, and it became cost prohibitive. Right. This really gives print service providers and marketing service providers an opportunity to go back to their clients and say, hey, we want to let you know we have this viable alternative. Right. We can emulate this, and you can get the same response rates.
But even if you're like an offset, press person who's doing gold, as with gold ink, you struggle with what? Viscosity issues, right? That ink and water balance, right? It's big time hard. If you say to the designer or the pressman, you need to go from a 2% sweep to a 50%, they're going to rip their hair out because it's almost impossible to do that on offset using that metallic ink. So again, we're at the point now where we feel like these digital applications are not just as good, but far better than what you can get on an offset at better economics as well. And again, one of one, not one of many.
Yeah. I mean, when Project Peacock first started, it started as meetings in conference rooms at agencies and brands. And we would show them embellished print, and they would all be like, oh, we can't afford it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, whether you could afford it or not, which I don't believe you can afford it, but whether you can't or can't, not knowing about it is going to be a problem. Not offering it to your customers is going to be a problem. They don't have to take it. I always suggest a good, better, best model for pricing. Good, no embellishments. Better, maybe a spot varnish, and best, everything you could possibly do if you really want to make this piece of print sing, and let the customers decide. There have certainly been arguments and studies and printers all over the world who show their customers, here's what you ordered, job finished, everything's fantastic. Here's one that we embellished a little just to show you what's possible. And
Exactly.
you know, it's like the medium popcorn. You can't, the small popcorn $7, the large is $12, but the medium is $6.50, and you can't get your mind around not going to the medium because you're getting more for less. And that's how I feel about it. Now, you mentioned Christine Yardley, who has to be the best example of showing customers possibilities and then letting them say, yes, give that to me. And so can you speak a little bit more about your relationship with her? And then just to wrap it up, about anything else you want to mention about the Genesis initiative and how people can take part of it.
Well, I can just say, you know, I've known Christine now for a couple of years. She's done some wonderful webinars with us. We recently did a video testimonial with her up at her shop. And I mean, absolutely fantastic video. But what I love about her is she just embraces embellishments. You know, she wants to create print that matters, that people keep. And she absolutely does that. And I love that she uses, you know, multiple technologies to achieve her finished pieces. It's not just about one technology, but it's what makes the best outcome for her clients.
Yep.
And she absolutely has found this niche. You know, she is a beautiful, she's a beautiful example of what can be created with print. And, you know, if you talk to her, she'll say that, you know, she thinks it's weird if anything goes out without some sort of embellishment. But what makes her special, Deb, is that, you know, her team, they have an eye to be able to look at a print and say, oh, wouldn't that be amazing if we could just make that orange pop a little bit more? And they'll add that fluorescent pink underneath it to make that orange pop. But, you know, so it's just enhancing all types of applications that she has that come in, from a business card to a marketing brochure to the artists that she works with that have signed pieces. So I just think that everybody can learn from Christine.
Yeah.
And she's just she's the best in the business.
She really is.
Yeah.
I would say that, you know, I hear so many printers say, you know, and again, not knocking it, automation, digital printing has made print more, they use the word sellable faster, right? Less waste, less make ready, all of that stuff to you get to something that is sellable to the customer. But I would say there's sellable versus memorable. And when it comes to memorable, you really have to, you know, just listen to me when I say this to you. We would go to the advertising agencies, put a bunch of stuff on the table, not say anything to anybody, and they would all grab for the things that were embellished. It is a human behavior.
Yeah.
It is something that just makes somebody think that it's valuable. There's more value to it. So I just want to thank you all so much for leading the charge. And once again, in case anybody missed it, how can they get involved with the Genesis initiative, please?
The best place to go is Xerox.com/creative. So that's going to have links to all of our design guides, our how-to videos, as well as I think that there's even an opportunity to request sample prints from there as well.
That's right.
So Xerox.com Creative, it's a one-stop shop, and that's where everybody should go to learn more information about the Genesis Initiative.
Andrew, any final words?
No, just thanks for having us here today. One thing that we can maybe touch on for next time is, we do have a little initiative around No Designer, No Problem. That's free flow. We can talk about that next time, but honored to be here and look to keep the conversation going. Let's keep it going. So.
Absolutely. You're not getting rid of me. I'm barnacled to Xerox.
Well, you know where to find us. So.
Yes, I do. There actually so cool. Rachel from Virtual Approval has already put the link to the Genesis Initiative Creative in the chat, as well as ways to connect with you on LinkedIn and Xerox. Thank you so much for your support of the entire Printiverse, me, and our shared mission of educating the people in the world about the amazing possibilities and opportunities through print and printed communication. So thank you so much. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back with a special video presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.